That viper is free.
Okay.
Hallelujah. Sorry we coming on a little late, but we've had some technical difficulties. But see, Jumbo, everybody. Welcome back to Satora's Black History Corner Internet program. I am your host, Catherine Hunter Williams, along with my co-host, Miss Catherine Blake.
Hello, everybody.
We'd like to invite you to call in with any questions or comments. I don't know if we have any technical difficulties with that, but you could try at 810-208-1854. We not only tell our story about past great and unsung heroes and sheroes, but also about those living in the present day. Today we're going to open up our story with the Freedom Summer celebration that was held in Mississippi this past June. And Miss B is going to begin a series regarding our story about women in the suffrage movement, starting today with Carrie Williams Clifford. Mm-hmm. And it is that time again for the suffrage movement celebrations going on around the country, right?
Mm-hmm. August the 26th.
All right. So up until then, she's going to be coming with different women. Mm-hmm. And if we have some time left today, I will tell you our story about a remarkable inventor, Charles Brooks.
All right.
I don't know if y'all have heard of him, but the man is awesome. She's not talking about Carrie Williams. John. Oh, let me move on, because John do that. Right now it's the Freedom Summer. Freedom Summer, also known as Mississippi Summer Project, was a campaign in the United States launched in June 1964, 50 years ago, to attempt to register as many African American voters as possible in Mississippi, which has historically excluded most blacks from voting. The project also set up dozens of freedom schools, freedom houses, and community centers in small towns throughout Mississippi to aid the black local population. The project was organized by the Council of Federated Organizations, COFO, a coalition of the Mississippi branches of the four major civil rights organizations: SNCC, SNCC, CORE, CORE, NAACP, and SCL. I should have got all the names of these. Most of the impetuous leadership and financing for the summer project came from the SNCC. Robert Parris Moses, SNCC's field secretary and co-director of COFO. A lot of acronyms saying that. They directed the summer project. The picture that you're looking at up there, I'm going to come to it in just a minute, but I need to do a little bit more about this Freedom Summer, the 1963 Freedom Vote. Freedom Summer was built on the years of earlier work by numerous American Africans who lived locally in Mississippi. In 1963, SNCC, and I can't think of the name of it.
It's the
Southern National Convention. No, that ain't the Baptist Convention.
No.
Oh, I don't know. Y'all can go online and find it.
They call it SNCC, right?
SNCC, yeah. Organized a mock freedom vote designed to demonstrate the will of black Mississippi's to vote, if not impede by terror and intimidation. Mm-hmm. The Mississippi voting procedure at the time required blacks to fill out, listen to this, 21 question registration form to answer to satisfaction, my Lord, of the white register, a question on interpretation of any one of 285 sections of the state's constitution. In 1963, volunteers set up polling places in black churches and business establishments across Mississippi. After registering on a simple registration form, voters would select candidates to run in the following year's elections. Candidates included Reverend Edward King, Edwin King of Toluga College, and Aaron Henry. Local civil rights workers and volunteers, along with students from northern universities, organized and implemented the mock election in which tens of thousands voted. The planning began in February 1964. All right. During the 10 weeks of the Freedom Summer, a number of other organizations provided support for COFO Summer Project. More than 100 volunteers, doctors, nurses, psychologists, medical students, and other medical professions from the Medical Committee for Human Rights provided emergency care for volunteers and local activists, taught health education classes, and advocated improvement in Mississippi's segregated system. Volunteer lawyers from the NAACP Legal Defense Fund, called Inc. Fund, you ever heard of that one? And Endeavor of the National Council, a National Lawyers Guild, you ever heard of them?
Yeah, that
Constitution.
is still around.
It's still around?
Mm-hmm.
Constitutional Defense Committee,
Mm-hmm.
an arm of the ACLU, and the Lawyers Committee for Civil Rights under law.
It's headed by Gwen Eiffel's sister. Remember when we did?
We did the program about it. It provided legal services, handling arrests, freedom of speech, voters registration, and other matters. Of course, there was a lot of violence because Mississippi was one of the last and hardest states to let go of their black people, as they call them, our people, our niggers. That's what they called them. Many of the Mississippi's white residents deeply resented the outsiders and any attempt to change their society. Locals routinely harassed volunteers. Newspapers called them unshaven and unwashed, trash. Their presence in local black communities sparked drive-by shootings, Molotov cocktails, and constant harassment. State and local government, the Mississippi Sovereignty Commission, which was tax supported and spied on citizens, police, the White Citizen Council, and the Ku Klux Klan used murder, arrests, beatings, arson, spying, firing, evictions, and other forms of intimidation and harassment to oppose the project and prevent blacks from registering to vote or achieving social equality. That's some deep stuff. Over the course of the 10-week project, 4 civil rights workers were killed. That's the picture you're looking at, and I hope y'all can see. James Chaney, he's at the very top. He was a black Corps activist from Mississippi. Corps organizer Michael Swarner, he's number 2. And summer volunteer Andrew Goodman, both of whom were Jews from New York, were arrested by Cecil Price, a Neshoba County Deputy Chair. Price was a member of the White Knights of the Ku Klux Klan. They were held in jail until after nightfall, then released. They drove away into an ambush on the road by Klansmen who abducted and killed them. Goodman and Swarner were shot at point-blank range. James Chaney was chased, beaten mercilessly. I'm not pronouncing my words today. What's going on? And he was shot 3 times.
You're doing fine.
Oh, please. They were later found to have been buried in an earthen dam. The disappearance of the 3 men the night of their release from jail was reported on TV, on newspaper front pages, shocking the nation. Well, today we have social media, and social media don't be playing either.
Sure don't.
I mean, people be out there with videos, and they be talking, and they just be,
Everybody's got a camera.
yes, they do. And you might see it on the internet, just pop right up on there, and it goes viral and around the world today.
And sell that film.
Oh,
The media will buy it.
yeah. If you got a good one. Like, I think last week, that woman that was in California, Anaheim, California,
Oh yeah.
and they was beating her. I wonder, my last report on her, she was still in the hospital. So that, I want to know what was that about? That man was beating that woman so bad. I mean, the policeman. And he had gloves on, and he wrestled her down and turned her around and got her. It was like a wrestler, and turned her and got her on her back, and he just went to wailing. I'd really like to know what's gonna happen, but I tell you this, she gonna get some money behind this one.
Oh yeah.
That's the bottom line. She has rights. And he said that they started off with the report, but they didn't finish it, where they said that he said that she was walking along the side of the road with no shoes on. Well, that's not breaking any laws. But they kind of quiet about it. I've been trying to follow it and find information out about it, but it's hard to find something. I could even go online to try to bring it up in there, say she in the hospital and she got her attorney and everything, but it's not a lot. Anyway, back to the violence.
Excuse me.
4 civil rights workers were killed, 1 in a head-on collision. At least 3 Mississippi blacks were murdered because of their support for the civil rights movement. 4 people were critically wounded. 80 Freedom Summer workers were beaten. 1,062 people were arrested, out-of-state volunteers and locals. 37 churches was bombed or burned, and 30 black homes or businesses were bombed and burned. Mississippi was deep. It's a book called
Mississippi Burning. Not that one.
Late Night in Mississippi.
Oh yeah.
I used to have to put that book down because it was things that I was reading that they was due to blacks. I just heard it, That don't bother me today, but I was fresh when I got that book. Somebody gave it to me, and somebody took it from me. But it was an awesome book. Anyway, when the men went missing, SNCC and COFO workers began phoning the FBI asking for an investigation. FBI agents refused, saying it was a local matter. Finally, after some 36 hours, Attorney General Robert F. Kennedy ordered an investigation.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's how it got going. FBI agents swarming around Philadelphia, Mississippi, where Goodman, Swarner, and Cheney had been arrested. For the next 7 weeks, FBI agents and sailors from a nearby naval air base searched for the bodies, wading into swamps and hacking through underbrush. FBI Director J. Edgar Hoover went to Mississippi. He went to Mississippi on July 10th to open the first FBI branch office there. The picture that we got up there, John, is a stained glass window honoring the 3 slain activists in Saga?
And Sage.
Sage Chapel. It goes 2 words. It comes just 2 different words. At the Cornell University. So if you're ever down that way, go there and check them out. It's a beautiful stained glass. Throughout the search, Mississippi newspaper and word of mouth perpetrated the common belief that the disappearance was a hoax designed to draw publicity. The search of rivers and swamps turned up the bodies of 8 other black men.
Wow.
That ain't funny, but they was looking for these 3 and found 8 others. Herbert Orsby, a 14-year-old youth, was found wearing a Core t-shirt. Henry Hezekiah D. and Charles Eddie Moore had been expelled from Alcorn and AME for participating in civil rights protests. The other 5 men were never identified. On August 4th, 1964, the bodies of Cheney, Swarner, and Goodman were found buried beneath the earthen dam. Woo! All right, let's move from the violence. Because the violence can make you angry when you're reading about this and studying about our history. And, you just look at the atrocities that happened to black people, and still is happening today, not as frequently as it used to back then, but hell, I don't know, it might be still going on in certain areas and we don't hear about it. But nowadays, like we was talking earlier, they have videos, cameras, and they be talking, why is he doing that? That's what they were saying with the woman. When the police was beating her. But you videoing it and you ain't helping. You ain't doing nothing. You can hear her talking. Why is he doing that? She studied videoing. So that went viral. That went worldwide. Anyway, let me get back to this. The volunteer Freedom School teachers were profoundly affected by their experience, as were the students. Pam Parker, a teacher in Holly Springs School, wrote of the experience. The atmosphere in the class is unbelievable. It is what every teacher dreams about: real, honest enthusiasm and desire to learn anything and everything. The girls come to class of their own free will. They respond to everything that is said. They are excited about learning. They drain me of everything that I have to offer, so I go home at night completely exhausted, but very happy in spirit. That's the freedom schools they talk about, because I told you they opened up freedom schools while they were there. The aftermath, Freedom Summer did not succeed in getting many voters registered, but it had a significant effect on the course of the civil rights movement. It helped break down the decades of isolation and repression that had supported the Jim Crow system. Before Freedom Summer, the national news media had paid little attention to the persecution of black voters in the Deep South and the dangers endured by black civil rights workers. You remember the bus? I think it was the Freedom. They called them Freedom Riders.
Freedom Riders.
They met them people, burned the bus, and beat the people on that bus. These was young people. It usually take young people to make a change anyway. Some of the older people, they're there, but it's the young people that get out on the front line. The events that summer had captured national attention, as had the mass protests and demonstrations in previous years. Some black activists felt the media had reacted only because northern white students were killed and felt embittered. Almost all the volunteers have recounted believing that summer was one of the defining periods of their life. In Mississippi, controversy raged over the 3 murders. Mississippi state and local officials did not indict anyone. The FBI continued to investigate. Agents infiltrated the KKK and paid informants to reveal secrets of their clavers. In the fall of 1964, informants told the FBI about the murders of Cheney, Goodman, and Schwerner. On December 4th, the FBI arrested 19 men as suspects. All were freed on a technicality, starting a 3-year battle to bring them to justice. On October 1967, the men, including the Klan's imperial wizard Samuel Bowers, is he the one live down there in Livingston? I don't know. Who had allegedly ordered the murders, went on trial in the federal courthouse in Meridian. 7 were ultimately convicted for federal crimes related to the murders. All were sentenced to 3 to 10 years, but none served more than 6 years. This marked the first time since Reconstruction that white men had been convicted of civil rights violations against blacks in Mississippi. Renewed investigations of the 1964 Mississippi civil rights workers' murders led to a trial by the state in 2005. As a result of the investigative reporting by Jerry Mitchell, an award-winning reporter for Jackson Clarion Ledger, high school teacher Barry Bradford and 3 of his students from Illinois, and one of the leaders of the killing and a former KKK Klan Clavering recruiter was indicted for murder. He was convicted of 3 counts of manslaughter. The killing verdict was announced on June 21st, 2005. That's not too long ago.
I got that picture still.
You do?
Of him. He was very old.
The 41st anniversary of the crime. Killing's lawyers appealed the verdict, but his sentence of 3 times 20 years in prison was upheld on January 12, 2007, in a hearing by the Supreme Court of Mississippi. And his name was Edgar Ray Killing. Killing.
He was old.
Yeah, he was
He
old.
was
207. This happened in 1964,
Mhm.
63.
Yeah.
Oh my lord.
I got that picture that in my Sunday school class.
Okay.
Yeah, I was introduced that to the children because they didn't know.
Yeah.
They didn't know what that was all about. It was in the newspaper.
You
Back
know,
then.
it took that same thing with Murley Evers' husband
Mhm.
to bring them to justice.
Mhm.
You know, and I think he was Mississippi too, wasn't
Yes.
he? Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot his name. Slain civil rights activist. He was the head of the NAACP down there, field
Medgar
officer.
Evers.
Medgar Evers. But they finally brought him to justice.
Yes,
they
they
finally got him in these latter years. But you know,
Mhm.
God is a just God, and when He works it, He works it.
Mhm.
All right, that's our story about the Freedom Summer. And as I said, it was a 50-year celebration. They celebrated. Began in June 1964. This year, June 2014 was 50 years. So now y'all know about Freedom Summer in Mississippi.
And they had
And that
quite a
doesn't mean
lineup,
that
too.
they are going all around the country for everybody else to try to celebrate,
Mm.
like they do with Juneteenth. Okay, got to throw that in here.
They had quite a lineup. They had a big program. It lasted for about 3 or 4 days.
The Freedom Summer
Mhm,
celebration. I
yeah.
thought it was longer than that.
It 7
All in
days.
June.
All in June.
I thought. I don't know.
Well, I saw an agenda with about 4 days, 3 or 4 days on there.
Oh,
With
okay.
some heavy hitters were down there.
Yeah, it was. Well, the picture that they
Yeah.
had in the Flint Journal, that was in there on June 27th. They got some heavy hitters around in memory of.
Mary Lee Evers.
Yep.
Williams. Yeah.
Representative Gus Savage, I think that's who that is. And I'm not sure who all these other people is, quite a few of them. But then around the tombstone of Michael Swarner,
Mhm.
James Chaney, and Andrew Goodman. Don't forget. That's why I be telling these youth today, so many people fought and died for the
Mhm.
freedom that they're experiencing today. And they don't even appreciate it. They
Mhm.
have no appreciation. But the only way they're going to have some appreciation for it is we keep that
Mhm.
history out there
Right.
and not let them forget it no matter what. All right. Okay, Miss B.
Okay, the first woman for the series of the suffrage, Miss Carrie Williams Clifford. She was a writer, an editor, and a women's civil rights activist.
Wait a minute. She was the first?
No,
Oh, okay. What
Mhm.
did you say?
I said she was a writer, an editor,
No. Before that, I thought you said she was the first woman
No.
for the suffrage.
no. This is the first of the series.
Oh, the first of the series. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I can't. I'm not pronouncing words right, so my ears are not hearing right either.
Miss Carrie Williams Clifford was born in Chillicothe, Ohio, and little is known about her early years except that she attended high school in Columbus, Ohio, and was known to be a brilliant student. Before leaving Ohio, she was married to William H. Clifford, a lawyer, an outspoken Republican member of the Ohio State Legislature. In addition to caring for her family, Clifford demonstrated her community concerns in many ways. She founded the Minerva Reading Club. During the late 19th century, a literary club offered its members an opportunity for social improvement, leadership skill development, and a forum for increased educational opportunity and awareness of racial issues. Poetry readings, music performances, and oratory contests were all part of the literary club experiences. Now, Clifford writing skills developed as she presented poetry and short stories to her group. And this led her to an involvement with the National Association for Colored Women. Now, you know, that was the oldest women's group around. And her hard work and considerable abilities benefited the Cleveland organization. And in 1901, When the need for a state organization was realized, she founded the Ohio Federation of the Colored Women's Club. And in serving as president, she was an exceptional organizer with writing skills that focused on family, community, women's rights, and racial issues. And she served as editor-in-chief of the women's edition of the Cleveland Journal and was a contributor, sorry about that, to publications including Alexander's Magazine. She was instrumental in the Ohio Federation of the Colored Women's Club promotion of women's suffrage. And she was among the group of black and white women who participated in the suffrage demonstrations. Around 1910, Clifford moved her two young sons to Washington, D.C., and her literary and humanitarian activities accelerated. She got on the ball.
Yeah.
With
Was she a
Howard,
teacher though? Okay.
with Howard University nearby, Clifford opened her home for literary saloons where black intellectuals gathered for literary and political discussions. Among her guests were Mary Church Terrell, W.B. Du Bois, Allen Locke, and Georgia Douglas Johnson, Charles Chestnut, and others. And according to author Rosemary Clifford Wilson, the most vital figure of the day who were creating the cultural and political heritage for black Americans, which preceded and gave impetus to the so-called Harlem Renaissance of the 1930s, would gather at Clifford's home. She had quite some heavy hitters at her house.
But I also seen that she was a participant in the Niagara movement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When the NAACP
She was a leader
formed,
of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not much. See, she's one of those that not much was said about her.
Mhm.
They mostly talk about Rosa Parks and Mary Church Terrell and
Rosa
Ida
Parks. She wasn't in that.
No, but you know, I'm talking about in Black history.
Oh, okay.
You know, she's one of those. Everybody knows Rosa Parks. Everybody knows Mary Church Terrell, Ida B. Wells. But when you hear about somebody named Carrie Williams Clifford,
That's some unsung
yeah, they don't know.
sheroes.
Right. So when the NAACP was formed in 1909, Clifford was among the prominent women who held leadership roles stemming from her work in the pioneering Niagara movement. And she contributed articles to the Crisis magazine. That's the journal of this organization that focuses on various forms of discrimination. Have you got your Crisis magazine yet?
Not yet.
It's coming. Her
I got
eloquent
some real
essay.
old ones.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, that reminds me to talk to about that check to get it out of here.
Okay.
Okay.
Her eloquent essay, Votes for Children, expressed her discontent that women were not allowed to vote. Wow. She continued to write poetry, publishing 2 volumes, Race Rhymes in 1911 and The Widening Light in 1922.
She also did another one too, unless you
Mhm.
got that one. Writings of Carrie Williams Clifford and Carrie Law Morgan Fig.
Mm-hmm.
It's the name of the book that's what it is. The Writings of
Mm-hmm.
Carrie Williams Crawford and Carrie Law Morgan Fig.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, topics for her poetry includes issues of the day: discrimination, injustice, protest, slavery, democracy, and religion. And other topics included famous black individuals such as William S. Barthwaite, Paul Lawrence Dunbar, Frederick Douglass, and Phyllis Wheatley. Black institutions such as Howard University and the Black Broadway actors. All right. Literary scholars beginning to recognize the contributions of this little-known contributor to the Harlem Renaissance now include Clifford in their assessment of the period, Lorraine Roses in the Black Women in America, acknowledged and significance got me.
That tongue gets it on it.
Yeah, acknowledged the significance of Clifford's work when she described her as the poet activist whose commentaries on injustice and sufferings specified to women of color, such as sexual harassment and abuse, foreshadowed late 20th century protests. Many of the details of Clifford's life were unknown. She died in 1934, having spent her life as a club woman, writer, women's rights activist, civil rights activist. Rosemary Clifford Wilson may have best captured her as a black woman who lived and spoke and wrote and worked ceaselessly for the rights of all black people.
Amen.
And that's something on Miss Carrie Williams Clifford.
All right. But she also
Unsung.
hero. She wrote. She also wrote some poems. She wrote
Yep.
4 different poems that I see, and then race rhymes. But she also prefixed her book, Race Rhymes, by stating, the author makes no claim to unusual poetic excellence or literary brilliance. She is seeking to call attention to a condition which she at least considers serious, knowing that this may often be done more impressively through rhyme, like it is with rap today.
Like rap, right.
Yep. That in an elegant prose she has take this method to accomplish this end. You know, the rappers are saying that the reason President Obama is in office is because they put him in there.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, the young people.
Oh, they don't think about the rest of us, huh?
The theme of the group here presented, the uplift of humanity, is the loftiest that can animate the heart and pen of man. The treatment she trusts is not wholly unworthy. To send these lines forth with the prayer that they may change some heart or right some wrong. So all her poems were about up to uplift humanity. Oh, that's an awesome woman.
Yes, she was.
Okay, that's our
Yes, she
story
was.
about Carrie Williams Clifford.
Someone else
Yeah,
you
one of
may
the
not have heard about.
unsung heroes, and I'm sure you're gonna bring somebody else we ain't heard.
Yeah,
of.
somebody else.
All right. All right. Satora's Black History Corner internet program comes to you via satellite at www.ustream.tv.channel Flint Talk Radio. You can watch our program every second and fourth Monday of the month starting at 3:30. Also, be sure to watch what's going on with political pundit Dr. George Moss every Monday at 2 p.m. As always, I like to say asante, which means in Swahili, thanks to you all who have watched our program today. And if you have liked what you have seen and heard, please pass it on
Yes.
to others. You tell 10 people and they tell 10 people, and we will be one of the most watched programs here on flinttalkradio.com.
All right.
Until next time, keep on keeping on with us, and remember that you are blessed, highly favored, and are kept in our Heavenly Father's perfect hotep, which means peace.
Peace.
Mwah.